What is going on, guys? This is Versatile Gaming with my review of Noragami episode 3. And this episode, it was alright. It was definitely a pretty solid episode. I did enjoy the ending, like the middle to ending. I did enjoy that, over the beginning of it. So it starts off with Yato. He's looking for some new clothes for Yukine, because we see that he only wearing this white robe and that scarf that Hiyori gave to him. But after, Yato finally finds something for him, he actually changed it into some new clothes. So now they were like struggling for some food, and Yato managed to get this little fish that was stolen by a cat. But soon he took it back from the cat. It was actually pretty funny, how the cat snuck up on him and started attacking him by like scratching him on the back of the head. And then he was like spray painting his number so that people can call him for a job. But we have Yukine, who's actually doubting if he was like really a god, but of course Yato was going to prove it to him. So then, we have Yukine, Yato, and Hiyori. They went to this diner where they got some food, and their waitress here, she only bought one glass of water for Hiyori. But after Yato, spoke out to her, that's when she realized that there were two other people. So now we learn that it's not impossible for people to see Yato. He just blends in the background so well, it's like very hard to recognize him. And with Yukine being his regalia, it's also hard for people to see him as well. And so, Yato actually brought out a great point, because when he questioned Hiyori about how many waitresses were there, she also, couldn't figure out that there were 4 rather than just being 2. But after they ate, and Yato and Yukine, they ate a lot because they are poor and homeless, so they actually did eat quite a lot of food. But afterwards, they actually got a job. But right before that, we see that cat that had attacked Yato, it actually came back, and it really seemed to like Yukine. And so then we have Hiyori, who came close to him. And he had this like naughty thought, because we saw that he was like looking at her and he was blushing, so clearly he had some like naughty thought going through his mind. But we learned that Yato and Yukine, they kind of have like one mind and one body going on, where wherever Yukine thinking, Yato can know what it is. And I'm guessing he also, feels the same way. But then when it went to their job, Hiyori, she actually tagged along. But at first I thought that, that they just left her there, but it seems that, only her soul had went with them and her body got left behind. So that right there, is always funny. But we see that once they arrive to where their client has called them, it's kind of like a setup, because it gets like very misty. And then we just see these like shadowy figures. But after a while we hear somebody talking, and the person that had called them for this job, it was actually another god, Lord Tenjin, and he's the god of learning. And so we learned that this god, he's so busy because of this exam season going on, that he can't handle his other duty. So he wants to hire Yato for this job, and that job requires him taking out some phantoms. And so we learned that there are these 2 suicides that have happened because of this rather unsettling plague that they got, where this one person had wanted to get into university for their friends that had died and went to heaven. And so right away we see that like Yato seems like he actually doesn't really care about this job, because he was just like he was so unmoved by it. He wasn't motivated like Hiyori and Yukine was. Oh, and I also forgot that one of Tenjin's regalias, it was actually, Yato's former regalia, Tomone, but she now went by Mayu. And so she was the newest member to Tenjin, and he had her, show them around. And it was definitely funny, like the way Tenjin and Yato, they were like interacting with each other, because Tenjin was just like mocking and making fun of him, because he had like this huge bill, and he wanted, Yato to make change for it, but he couldn't. And then, he actually had change as well, so he was just, making so much fun of him, and it was hilarious to me. So that right there, I definitely, found funny. I do want to see Yato interact more with the other gods to see how they are, because clearly, they're all good people. and the way that these two, just, argue with each other and, went back and forth, it was definitely pretty hilarious. But when Yato showed no real motivation for what was going on here, because he was saying that, if these people want to die, then they should. Hiyori didn't really like that, so she hopped on the nearest train, and she went to the city. And we see that on this platform, we see all these phantoms, and we have one already on the student's shoulder, like putting these negative thoughts into him. And so, of course, we all know that in her spirit form, she can, she can fight. And so she went on the offensive, but that right there should cause all these phantoms, to appear. And they actually want to make her a full phantom rather than being a full breed. So they were planning on having her run over by a train, but luckily, Yato came with Yukine, and they cut her free. And so now we see that the main phantom here that have been making these students, kill themselves, it's like this giant hand. But he did have like a little buddy with him as well to like encourage them to move forward to the giant hand. But then, I definitely like the way the animation goes. We have like all these like kanji symbols around whenever Yato is like powering up Yukine, because it's just so freaking awesome the way they do that. And so when he does cut the phantom hand, he actually cuts the surrounding area as well. It's like Yukine, it's kind of like too powerful. It's almost like he's too powerful for Yato to handle, because he even said that he cuts too well. So it makes me wonder: is it possible that like somebody close to Yato, like let's say Hiyori, is it possible that she could one day accidentally be hurt by Yukine in his sword form because of the way that he just cuts so well? Like that right there was definitely pretty interesting, and that theory, it might come through. I'm not sure though, because I'm pretty sure they'll never want to hurt Hiyori, so I'm not sure if that will happen or not. But after they had, took out the phantom, Yukine finally realized, what was going on, because Yato said that a possessed spirit or a possessed person, they can never become a regalia, and regalias are, and we see that all regalias, they're like these extremely young people. Like we have Yukine, that's a little kid. We have the Tenjin sisters that were like very young as well. So these people that are regalias, they are all that died really young, and they're people that still want to live. That's why they're like still around. So that right there was like definitely, an important note right there. And it was touching, how it moved Hiyori and made her cry. But it was funny though, the way Yukine and Yato was like reacting to it. That right there was definitely funny. But then we go back to the shrine where Yato and Yukine are staying at, because we all know that he did not have one of his own. So he's sleeping in Tenjin's shrine, or at least one of them. And so we see that Yukine, he's still cold, but Yato kept that coat that he turned down at the beginning of the episode and gave it to him to like warm him up. And then we see that like one of Tenjin like regalias are like staring at them. I'm pretty sure that wasn't Mayu, so I'm not sure who that was. I was definitely confused about that, because the only one that I could think about was Mayu, but Mayu doesn't have that little white cloth or whatever you want to call it on her head, so I'm not sure who that is. But I'm definitely like curious about that. But like I said, this episode, it was definitely, it was good. It was pretty solid. I did like the middle to the end more than the beginning, so I'll give it a solid rating. But as always, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I'll see you all next time.